All right, guys, welcome. We are live again. I actually really love being this live. It's just the potential to potentially say something wrong and then ruin my entire career. I like it. It's like playing Russian roulette with my life. Anyways, you guys, a lot to talk about today. Number one, is Joe Biden in fact dead? Have you been paying attention to these conspiracy theories that are running amok on the internet? There is something there. He does seem to be missing. Is that a decoy that we just saw go down or go up Air Force One, rather? Also, I'm going to be covering this Sonia Massey shooting. I don't know if you guys have seen that. You should have, because Joe Biden or whoever is running his Twitter account decided to tweet about Sonia Massey, who recently lost her life when a cop shot at her after she called 911. I'm going to weigh in on that situation. You might be surprised with what I have to say. And lastly, I would never let you guys down. Of course, we are going to talk about Kim Cheadle. She testified. I think she test-lied. All that coming up on Candace. Everything that is happening right now with Joe Biden is weird. I want you to know that. I want you to hear that from me. It is extremely strange. Any person pretending that it's not strange, calling you a conspiracy theorist, don't listen to those people. There's definitely something here. At the very least, we should know that we are being lied to, very much so, lied to, and we don't know who, in fact, is in control of our country. But in his defense, he hasn't been in control of our country since he assumed office. So I think it's just more people are becoming aware of that fact. So let's back this up, because there are a lot of people who legitimately believe that Joe Biden is dead. Not even like he's sick with COVID, missing, not in control, has amnesia, but actually dead. And I'm going to show you how and when those conspiracies began. Let's start with Alex Jones, who made some predictions not too long ago. Take a listen.
And I'm not wishing any harm against Biden, let's be clear, because if he dies, that'll have a sympathy effect. He dies of a stroke, they poison him, maybe he dies naturally. I mean, he's a train wreck. Now, on the outside that Biden does not step down, they're going to assassinate him and blame it on a Trump supporter or poison him or something along those lines, but he'll be dead very soon, because they don't have much time to tee up their next candidate. And just like I told you, I believe Biden would be gone by the 21st. We have the clips. And I still think that number is going to hold. And yesterday, he cancels his engagements. He cancels going out. Then he says, I'm sick. And then he says, I have COVID. And if I have an illness, I may drop out of the race. They're already segueing that to do it. I believe Biden will start saying he's sick and that he's going to have to go ahead and drop the nomination because he's too ill. Within days of me saying that, he goes, oh, I'm sick on X. And, oh, I can't go out. And I've got COVID and all the rest of this, because he needs the segue out. And he also said yesterday, if this illness gets worse or if I'm sick, I'm going to have to look at dropping out. So I believe whether it's tomorrow or next week, and I said 2 weeks ago, I thought within about 2 weeks he would do it, he's already begun the process of leaving.
So just to slow that down for you, the theory was that Alex was pitching was that they had made a decision that they wanted Joe Biden gone, and they gave him the option to just sort of resign because of everyone demanding that he resigned. You know, the peer pressure campaign, it's time for him to step aside. It's time for him to step aside. George Clooney is writing letters. Everyone is saying he's my friend, but clearly something has happened. He's mentally deteriorating. And they thought that Joe Biden would bite. But of course, we then heard him say, nope, I am still in this race 100%. I don't care about the debate performance. So the idea here is that whoever is actually in control behind the scenes allowed Joe Biden to debate Trump because they knew that he was in full mental decline. They knew how the public would react to seeing him not even able to string together a sentence, and of course then sent out their Operation Mockingbirds to say, there's panic, essentially forcing Biden out of office, realizing that there was no path forward to him for him to beat Donald J. Trump. But again, Joe Biden said, nope, I'm in it to win it. His campaign said, nope, everything is going to be exactly the same. So Alex Jones was predicting, since the good way didn't happen, the nice way, so to speak, did not go down the way that they had planned, they were then just going to kill him. So he was predicting that Joe Biden was going to come down with an illness before he actually came down with an illness. So let me give you guys this timeline. The last time Joe Biden was seen, it was on July 17th. You'll recall, I'm going to show you this video. He came down the stairs of Air Force One, and he was struggling to get down these stairs. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, you can just see his movement. It's very strange. Obviously, this is a person who has an awkward gait, likely because of some illness. And we were hearing rumors then that he had a Parkinson's disease doctor that was visiting the White House. So that was the last time that he was seen before today. We were then told, because people were quite concerned about his movements or non-movements there, that he had COVID, which is why he had to cut his trip to Las Vegas short. And then suddenly he resigned on Sunday. Now, that was an objectively odd resignation. So you imagine these campaigns, like I said, where you have so many people working, these young kids that are not sleeping, everybody's drinking coffee, eating pizza, and they did not know. They found out on Twitter that Joe Biden, the person that they had been working for, had resigned. It's very odd. They were speaking out saying, we had no idea, we didn't hear this from the campaign. So that's a very strange thing. He did this on Twitter, on X. He just dropped the letter and said, I'm suspending my campaign. And you will notice, and here really is where the conspiracy theories began to ramp up, there is no presidential seal on that letter, which leads many to believe that Joe Biden did not actually sign this letter. And of course, there's no way to verify that he did because we're not hearing him speak. Joe Biden's just missing from the equation. A letter is dropped. His campaign is not aware, despite the fact that they had just told us nearly 24 to 48 hours earlier. He said, nope, I'm still running. I'm still running. So what was actually going on in the background? On Monday, July 22nd, we had the physician, the White House physician, issue a letter stating that, he was on the up and up, that he had had his 10th shot of Paxlovid. I guess that's the treatment for COVID, which seems completely insane that you would get 10 injections of that, but that he was doing well. Okay, so that was July 22nd. He is doing well. He said President Biden completed his 10th dose of Paxlovid this morning. His symptoms have almost resolved completely. His pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and temperature remain absolutely normal. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So obviously we should be able to see Biden. At the very least, he should appear in front of the campaign, which he just suspended, on Twitter and say to everyone, hey, I'm really sorry that I did it this way. I'm not sure why the entire team would allow me to do it this way. Everyone around me, you would think someone would say, hey, that's actually, it's not proper. You should go meet with them and thank them for their time. So because people started asking this question, suddenly on that same day on July 22nd, he called into campaign headquarters so that he could address people via telephone. Again, this is via telephone, not in person. Obviously, we live in the age where someone could have easily had him on Skype, could have put him on FaceTime so he could say hello if you're concerned about COVID spreading. But nope, it was just a phone call. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of that phone call, and I will tell you what is odd about it. Take a listen.
But this COVID keep me out of people's hair for the next 3 or 4 days. But I'm going to be on the road, and I'm not going anywhere. It's kept me away a little bit, but I want people to remember that what we have done has been incredible, and we get so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly, and I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising, and it's hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing. Help me get this nomination.
We can get out of this.
Help me win the nomination.
So he's confirming that they were all surprised by this news, that he decided to just do this in a tweet without his presidential seal. But also, we know that we live in the age where you can create these AI recordings. On my last show, I showed you guys how I could create a recording and I could be any person that I wanted, because there is now the AI technology where all you have to do is record a soundbite of them, and then you could just force the AI to say whatever you want that person to say in an AI voice. And it's very scary. There's a lot of scam calls going on because people are pretending to be relatives and using AI technology to get people to acquiesce to giving their credit card details because they think that their loved one is in trouble. So this is just not convincing. And as if it weren't convincing enough, Kamala Harris then gets on stage and has a gaffe, because that's what it's always called whenever they do it. It's a gaffe. And as she's speaking with Joe Biden, as I'm about to show you, rather than saying that he's on a call, she says, or almost says, that he is on a recording. So take a listen.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
So you see, she says you're still on the call. So people took that and said that's a strange slip there to call it a on the call. And again, it just doesn't make people feel as though that's actually Joe Biden on the phone due to the tech that is available to create someone who is speaking just like him. Then it gets even stranger. Charlie Kirk, who is a friend of mine, I work with Turning Point USA all the time, tweeted this onto his X profile. He wrote this: I got a weird lead, on a story that people should look into. I got a call from a source close to Las Vegas Metro. The official story was that Joe Biden's trip was cut short last week due to COVID. However, according to this source, U.S. Secret Service informed LV Metro that there was an emergency situation involving Joe Biden and to close necessary streets so that the POTUS could be transported immediately to University Medical, which they began to do in earnest. Then mysteriously, there was a stand-down order, and the USSS informed local Vegas PD that they were going to medevac POTUS to Johns Hopkins, which they presumed meant fly him back east ASAP. Apparently, the rumor mill in the police department was that Joe Biden was dying or possibly already dead. I didn't think too much about this lead. It seemed too wild to be true, but given that Joe Biden has been out of public sight for days and dropped out of the race via an X post, and his brother James indicated health was a factor, I'm beginning to grow more curious if COVID or something else has been more serious than reported. If anyone with LV Metro has information, please email blank. I want to hear if there was more to the official story than what they're telling us. And sure enough, somebody did email Charlie Kirk with more information. And Charlie tweeted as a follow-up that he had received multiple emails like this one confirming many elements of the story. Many have confirmed that a call went out to block streets to get Biden to University Medical Trauma Center ASAP. And then the plan abruptly changed and they got him out on AF1 very quickly. And I can just read you this email. Charlie, your info is solid. I retired from Las Vegas Metro in blank. My source texted me this just now. We are making plans to go to UMC Trauma first. Called in box squads to come help shut down the route. Then it changed to taking him to the airport. He was on the plane fast and took off faster than I've ever seen Air Force One leave the airport. So obviously this led to people going wild and realizing that they may not have communicated what was actually going on with the president. Now, here's what I will say. It is plausible that he was having some medical COVID emergency and they were going to race him to that medical center and then decided, you know what, it's better, let's just get him back to Delaware, get him back to Washington, D.C., and he can see his actual doctors. But the fact that that was not communicated, I guess, makes people feel a little alarmed. And the strangest element of this is that in such a short window of time, he went from saying, yes, I am definitively still running, we're not backing out of this race, to just dropping this letter. And again, it did not bear the presidential seal, so kind of feels like there's something going on there. Now, is he in fact dead? Well, he recently, very recently, a couple of hours ago, has been seen coming out of his car, pulled off his mask, and it looks like he is boarding Air Force One, but he doesn't say anything in this clip that I'm about to show you as reporters are attempting to speak to him. Take a look at this. So I'll just talk over this for those of you that are listening on the podcast, but yeah, he just gets out of his vehicle. He's wearing sunglasses. And the reporters are asking him a question, but he doesn't actually respond to the question. He instead just buttons up his jacket, gives a thumbs up, and walks very slowly to Air Force One. So people are saying, is this actually Joe Biden? Now, I obviously can't answer that question. But I will say this, it's not a conspiracy theory to believe that there are presidential decoys. There have been presidential decoys since the beginning of time. And when I tell you that if you looked at a president or a leader and then looked at his decoy, you would not be able to tell the difference. Actually, Business Insider did an article a couple of years ago showing Fidel Castro's decoy or stunt double, so to speak, I guess just presidential double, as well as Saddam Hussein's, which Saddam Hussein's, I am telling you, there was just entirely no way that you would ever know that that was a different person. It also speaks about in that same article how Stalin had a decoy. So it is very commonplace. I would actually say it's the industry standard for obvious reasons, because if you're concerned about the president's safety, you need to make sure that you have someone who looks just like him. And what they make those decoys do. Sometimes they do go under and they have plastic surgery, as that article in Business Insider stipulates. They definitively make them go through classes. They coach them on how to move and essentially just how to fake people into believing that that's actually them. So who knows? Could this be a decoy? Could this not be a decoy? The more important thing is that he is slated to speak and to address the American people from the White House. And I think that will give us the comfort that I think people deserve in knowing that he's actually alive, that he is making these decisions of sound mind. Now, of course, no matter what, when he speaks, we know he's not really of sound mind. But the main concern is that something more serious happened. And I think that the only way to get those concerns resolved or set aside is to make sure that he appears and he speaks in front of the American people. Lastly, I will say this because I saw the earlobe conspiracy theory where people were saying, well, when he was working under Joe Biden, when Joe Biden was the vice president under Obama, he had earlobes that were detached, and now his earlobes are, not detached from his head, and that's 100% true. But my obvious response to that is that all of these people get facelifts, and once you get a facelift, something with the procedure, they work on your ears to pull things up. So I think that really is just the same Joe Biden that was VP is the same Joe Biden that is president now. It's just simply trying to stay young and likely getting half a facelift or an entire facelift. All right, guys, before we get into Kim Cheadle, I want to remind you guys about my friends at American Financing, because I know that so many people are just feeling so overwhelmed with debt right now, trying to figure out how they can possibly move forward because the bills are higher than they've ever been, higher than you feel like what you're even bringing in every month. And every time you have to swipe a credit card to cover the difference, the debt just keeps adding up. So if you own a home, here's what you can do. You can call my friends at American Financing. They can help you break free from that cycle. American Financing is saving people just like you and me an average of $854 a month. And that's a lot of money. Think about what you could do with an extra $800 every month, not having to worry about the minimum monthly payments. And even better, it will cost you nothing to at least find out how much you can save. All it will take is a quick call to American Financing. If you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today and start your journey towards being credit card debt-free. The number is 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210. Or, of course, you can visit the website at americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right, getting into some stories. Kim Cheadle. Well, first and foremost, I'll tell you, she resigned today. That's the big news. She resigned. And I just want to know what job this is that she had the opportunity to resign as opposed to having been fired. That's just got to be like female privilege or something. This just makes entirely no sense, given the remarkable security failure, if you're taking that angle, that it was a security failure and not something that was done on purpose because they wanted Trump dead. Either scenario, this woman should have been fired. And instead, they accepted her resignation. And as I said, the press is essentially saying, how dare we speak to her and comment on the fact that no women should be employed in an executive protection position, especially guarding someone that's much bigger than them. And you can just honestly step aside. If that's your viewpoint, you are unbearable. You are truly an insufferable human being, that you would watch him almost get assassinated live on television. And what you take away is, we're just not being nice enough to the ladies that are in suits guarding men. Anyways, she testified yesterday, and I am starting to feel very annoyed by these congressional testimonies because it just feels like they're always inadequate. We know they're essentially just going to plead the fifth, say nothing, answer nothing, and yet we're supposed to view this by the end of it as like, okay, we've asked all the questions we're supposed to ask, and now we can button this up and move on. And by the way, it does feel that they're already trying to get us to move on. And I am not over this. I am never going to be over the fact that we have no answers as to who attempted to assassinate President Trump. It's like the media isn't even interested in Matthew Crooks, not interested in his family, in his father and his mother, in everything that we could possibly garner in terms of the information pertaining to this family. It's very obvious that this is starting to be memory hold. And if you want to see how extensively Kimberly Cheadle just essentially dodged questions yesterday, I'm going to show you just a few moments in case you didn't have time to watch it. Because it's been, just to be clear, which testified yesterday, it had been 9 days since the Trump assassination attempt. 9 days where she had the ability to speak to the Secret Service. But she says that it's not enough time. She still can't answer basic questions like whether or not they had Secret Service members on that roof. Take a listen to her being questioned by James Comer.
Let's start with the building that the shooter used to shoot President Trump from. At any point Saturday, did the Secret Service have an agent on top of that roof?
Sir, I'm sure, as you can imagine, that we are just 9 days out from this incident, and there's still an ongoing investigation. And so I want to make sure that any information that we are providing to you is factual.
You can't, okay. Why did the Secret Service not, can you answer why the Secret Service didn't place a single agent on the roof?
We are still looking into the advanced process and the decisions that were made.
Okay. Wasn't that building within the perimeter that should be secured? Do we agree with that?
The building was outside of the perimeter on the day of the visit. But again, that is one of the things that during the investigation we want to take a look at and determine whether or not other decisions should have been made.
9 days, ladies and gentlemen, and Kim Cheadle cannot say whether or not they had Secret Service on that particular roof. I mean, what is she doing? Is she sending snail mail? Because I do think that even if she had sent a letter to every single Secret Service agent at their home and said, hey, were you on the roof that day? She would have by now received a letter back. That's just my opinion. A text message, could we do a group chat with all the Secret Service agents? Hey, were one of you guys on the roof that day? No. Okay, yeah, no one was on the roof. But she says there's not enough time because, they're still investigating. And my personal perspective is that they're not investigating. They're just trying to see what their official story is going to be by first asking a bunch of questions of witnesses to what happened to make sure that they don't unintentionally tell a lie that can be debunked. But let's go on because it gets even better. It's very clear who was in control of everything that happened that day, and it sure doesn't look like it's the Secret Service. It is none other than the FBI. Take a listen to what she says when she is questioned by Representative Lisa McClain.
But you want to take accountability, right? The buck stops with you, right?
I am taking accountability.
Super. Then let's start with trying to answer some questions. You keep referring to the FBI. When asked how many shell casings were on the roof, you referred to the FBI. When asked if there were explosives in the car, you referred to the FBI. When asked if Crooks was acting alone, you referred to the FBI. See a common theme here? I can go on and on. My question is, who at the FBI should I speak with? Wait for it. Wait for it.
The FBI is responsible for the criminal
Is there a name?
I'm not certain.
I'm not certain.
Who at
All right,
the
here we go.
FBI
I'm
is
not
running the
certain. I
investigation.
don't know. Let me ask a different question. Have you been in communication with the FBI?
Yes, I have.
With whom?
I speak with the director and the deputy director.
Okay. And what have they shared with you about this investigation? So I'll give you an opportunity to answer again. Did they share with you how many shell casings were on the roof?
They have shared with me the evidence.
Did they share with you how many shell casing were on the roof?
Yes.
Okay, how many were there?
I would refer to the FBI for their
How
investigation
many were there?
and their information that they need to share in their investigation.
So they've shared the information with you. You just don't want to share the information with us, correct?
We have concurrent investigations that are going on.
So they have shared this information with you. You know the answer to the question. You just refuse to answer the question from the member of Congress who has subpoenaed you to be here. Is there a different answer to that question?
I was always willing to come here and testify before this oversight hearing.
Beautiful. Then let's do that.
was
Let's
necessary.
for once have your actions match your words. So you've been in communication with the FBI. You know the answers, and you refuse to tell us the answers. So I will ask you again. You know how many shell casings were on that roof. What is the answer to that question?
I think it's pertinent
What
to talk.
is the answer to that question?
I think it's pertinent to talk to you about the information that the Secret Service has and that the Secret Service knows related
I'm
to the
asking
events
you
on
an
that day.
answer to the question. If you're supposed to be in charge, if the buck stops with you, how come you can't share the answers? What are you covering up? What are you hiding, my friend?
I'm not covering anything else.
Then why can't you answer a simple question?
I absolutely love Lisa McClain because she is all of us, where you're just recognizing what is this sham, what's actually going on. There's a tiny little piece of me that actually feels bad for Kim Cheadle. I'll tell you why, because this woman knows too much, right? The FBI has told her to keep her mouth shut, probably if she wants to live. I mean, she's sitting back there and she's like, yeah, these are the guys that killed MLK. These are the guys that were threatening MLK right before he died. JFK got shot in broad daylight, and they just tried to shoot Donald Trump in broad daylight. Maybe I should sit this one out. And that's what we realize. We realize in this moment that these FBI members at the top that are saying there, Christopher Wray, is in control of this country, right? It is ridiculous that we do not have more answers, that she doesn't feel comfortable answering something as simple as how many shell casings were found on the rooftop. That is how afraid, I think she is afraid, right? Or I don't think she's smart enough to be colluding with them, but that is how fearful she is when it comes to stepping on the toes of the FBI. This is when we talk about the deep state, this is what we're referring to. It means Congress can't get answers, we can't get answers at the American people. Even the person that was almost assassinated cannot get answers because there is a borough that has been corrupt, agencies that have been corrupt since their genesis. Yes, since the very beginning of the establishment of the FBI and the CIA, they have been corrupt. There's not been a single minute of the day, not a single hour of the day where those agencies have not been corrupt. And so, yeah, I wouldn't want to be Kim Cheadle right now. I wouldn't want to be Kim Cheadle at all. That's not it, of course, because then there's even things that she couldn't provide, like a timeline, a basic timeline of what happened on that day. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene questioning Miss Kim Cheadle.
Why was Crooks able to fly a drone over the entire area the day of the rally and the day of his assassination attempt?
To my knowledge, he did not fly the drone over the entire area.
How did he fly a drone over the area, period? Any part of the area?
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event.
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job.
I don't even know what that means. I have a timeline with no specifics. Like I want to just think through that for a second. Here's the timeline. Here's 9 a.m., 10 a.m. There's just nothing on it. So she just basically just has just like a blank schedule that just says the time, and there are no specifics written into it. Again, she's clearly not being forthcoming and honest, which makes her, factually speaking, dishonest, right? I believe in lies by omission, and therefore that makes Kim Cheadle a liar. Probably scared. I'll give her that. She's probably terrified. Who would not be terrified? She's coming up close with people that have done very dirty and awful things all throughout American history. But it's just shocking to hear her say these things where she's unable to, a person that is supposed to be heading up the Secret Service, unable to answer basic questions. And this is the reason, if you are a spineless, feckless individual, that you have no business in government. This is my personal perspective, that if you are so much of a coward that you could witness that, be a part of that, and not be so enraged that you would be forthcoming with every piece of information, we need you to step aside. And that's exactly, by the way, with what Rep. Pat Fallon tells her that she should probably do. Step aside. Take a listen.
I have never had any long gun training in my life. I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas, where we recreated what happened in Butler. I was lying prone on a sloped roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear. That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me. It is a miracle President Trump wasn't killed. Corey Compagnore's life is over because that damn shooter made it on the roof. And it wasn't the roof that was dangerous. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos.
And that is what she did, dear friend. She is going back to guarding Doritos, which was her previous job. I think she worked for a chip company, and she never should have had this position. But that is the whole point, by the way. They love DEI because it allows them to put people that are incompetent and fearful into positions of power so that when the real people that are in power do things and commit acts, they can essentially bully them. And that's what's happening right now. You were looking at a woman who is effectively useless. She's terrified. She has no idea what to say. She was hired for all of the wrong reasons so that they could simply do, as we showed you in a prior episode, a commercial and say, look, there's a woman in charge. You're supposed to feel good about that. I don't feel good about any of this. In fact, there's a piece of me that believes that the entire push of DEI was exactly that, putting people that are tremendously incompetent and ill-fitted for the positions into these places, into these corporations, into these government positions so that they can effectively just be controlled. They're useless, and yet they feel so good about these positions. So yes, she has given her resignation. I'm sure she's happy, and she's also probably still terrified. But I do not want us to forget that 10 days ago, President Donald Trump was supposed to be assassinated. Donald Trump is supposed to be dead today. That was the plan for Trump. And I am sorry, I am not buying this Matthew Crooks lone shooter story. Doesn't feel right to me. All right, guys, before we move on and we talk about this shooting in Illinois, I do want to tell you guys about a company that is just so amazing because they're making pajamas with Bible verses, and I have 3 kids, and they are just so sweet. It's called Holy Pals, and they basically, again, make these pajamas that you can quite literally wrap your children in the Word of God. I love this, and I want to make sure that you guys get an exclusive discount code because I want to raise my kids to know God. I am raising my kids to know God and to love God, and that is what Holy Pals Bible PJs is all about, engaging with the Bible in a fun, adorable, and cozy way. Each pajama has the passage reference stitched on the sleeve. They just released their summer collection with the most adorable Fruit of the Spirit design, as well as Armor of God and Ruth and Naomi. Parents are raving about how amazing the quality is and how much their kids love them. So you guys be sure to check out Holy Pals pajamas. They are absolutely amazing. All right, guys, moving on. Okay, Illinois. Obviously, we expect right before election time, things get crazy every single time. And typically there seems to be a story that is targeted to Black America because they always want Black America enraged and angry and therefore voting and acting without a cool mind, like not without a level head, right? You're supposed to just be angry, and whichever party gets behind you and your anger is supposed to be the party that you support. That's exactly why George Floyd, that was perpetuated around the world with very little facts and a lot of emotion. Well, people are wondering if it's supposed to be the second George Floyd story, given the fact that the President of the United States has already tweeted about it. So I'm going to at first tell you what took place. There was a 36-year-old Black woman in Illinois who had called 911 for help. And she essentially, and I'm going to show you the video, definitely seems to be just out of it, I guess is the best way to say it. She's acting quite erratically. And in the video, you are just wondering what's going on. She doesn't seem to really know what's going on, and you can't predict her next move. Now, we're not going to show you the portion where she is actually shot because it would be taken down from YouTube, but I do want you to watch this footage up until the moment that she is shot so I can give you my opinion of it. Take a look.
Yeah, you have an ID, that'd make things so much easier. I just need just driver's license will do, and then I'll get out of your hair.
I want to show y'all my paperwork.
I will get your paperwork.
What paperwork?
Okay. I got some paperwork.
Well, just get your ID real quick.
Well, let's get your ID first, and then...
One task at a time here.
Okay. Let me
Here, grab your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
Is it in that stack right there, maybe?
Okay. 1 second.
Just check on her.
Let me get this.
No, we don't need a fire while we're here.
All right. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
You better not. I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
So after he says that, he does in fact shoot her, and she dies. And what my understanding is that she shot him in the head. So those 2 deputies, you have Deputy Sean Grayson, another one who I'm not sure At first, they're obviously speaking calmly to her in the home, and then she goes to the stove to turn off the pot of boiling water, and then she picks up the pot, and the other deputy steps up away from the hot steaming water. Now, when this first was spoken about, we were told that, I don't know, there was some sort of a threat with the boiling water. Sure, yes, she's acting erratically, and there is a situation in which she could have thrown the boiling water at the police officers, but they were nowhere near her. And then they shoot her, which to me, given the context of the fact that you knew that this woman was not mentally there, and even if she did throw boiling water at you, I don't see how saying, she said, I will rebuke you. I think she said, in the name of the Lord. And then he says, no, you will not, because I will shoot you. I mean, that is like very extreme, very aggressive. And he then proceeds to, he says, I will shoot you in the face. I mean, that's just like, what are you even talking about? Over a woman with boiling water. In my opinion, he should have simply used his taser if he felt threatened by the steaming water. Or if he felt that he absolutely had to use his gun, why didn't he shoot her in the foot? Or somewhere lower. This just did not seem like an appropriate response to me whatsoever. Now, parking that aside, of course, as I have said since the beginning of time, there are mistakes that police officers are human beings. There are mistakes that happen, and the idea that now you're going to use this situation, and all the usual suspects are already involved, we know that Attorney Crump is already involved, to then try to make Black Americans believe that this happened simply because she was Black is pointedly ridiculous. So I am saying to Black Americans today, do not take this bait. Yes, what happened in this situation, I think he's going to have a very hard time, this officer, saying that he absolutely felt so threatened by boiling water that the only solution was for him to mindfully say, I'm going to shoot you in the face, and that's what he did. I think that's going to be a very steep hill to climb. But the reaction from Black America cannot be exactly what they want. There is a reason that whoever is in control of Joe Biden's account instantly tweeted about this, okay? It's because they think we're stupid. They think we're emotional. I think that we always respond illogically and emotionally, and that it's an easy way for them to shore up votes by saying, oh, look, forget that we've destroyed everything around you and that we got you to burn down your neighborhoods, burn down your neighborhoods in 2020. And then obviously stole a bunch of money because none of that money actually went to making your neighborhoods better. And so now those communities are desolate. Forget all of that, because look, another video, and this means racism is back, and vote for us because we're going to show you how emotional we are. And that's exactly what Joe Biden did. He tweeted this on the heels. He wrote, Sonia Massey, a beloved mother, friend, daughter, and young Black woman, should be alive today. Sonia's death at the hands of a police officer reminds us that all too often Black Americans face fears for their safety in ways many of the rest of us do not. Sonia's family deserves justice. I am heartbroken for her children and family as they face this unthinkable and senseless loss. Jill and I mourn with the rest of the country, and our prayers are with Sonia's families, loved ones, and community during this devastating time. Okay, again, going to say here, this happened in Springfield, Illinois, that the only reason whoever is in control of his account is putting that out there is because too many Black Americans are turning toward Trump. They think too many Black Americans are catching on to the Democrat scam, and so they scan every one of these situations and they leave out the hard facts. And the hard facts are that if you examine this just based on a percentage rate, white Americans unarmed are more likely to be shot and killed by police officers in mistakes, shot and killed by police officers in these correspondences than Black Americans. That is a fact. It is an inescapable fact. There's no way to examine the statistics and not come out with that understanding, okay? And they don't want you to know that. There's never been a time ever on his timeline where he has shared anything about a white person being killed unarmed by a police officer because it doesn't feed their narrative. So stand up to this, okay? And all you have to do is be mentally forthright. Do not fall for the scam. Do not run out of your house. Do not burn down your neighborhood in Springfield, Massachusetts. Instead, demand that Joe Biden make an appearance and let us know who has been in control of the White House all of this time, because that is what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a red herring. All right, guys, I do want to get into some of your comments. Also, I realized I forgot to give you the website for Holy Pals. So the pajama and the children pajamas that have the Bible verses, you can head to holypals.com. That is the website that you can, if you want to buy these pajamas, and use promo code Candace, and you'll get an exclusive discount. They sell out every year very quickly, so be sure to get them. That is holypals.com, promo code Candace. Again, each pajama has the passage reference stitched on the sleeve, and they just released their summer collection. So go to holypals.com and use promo code Candace. All right, you guys, now let's get into some of your comments. I actually did want to at first read this comment from Annette because I always try to be correct and accurate. And we were speaking about the artist prayer of Harmeet Dillon. I think it was about a week ago, where I said that I like Harmeet Dillon. She does great work. I felt that that prayer was completely inappropriate. And I ran you some facts about what that prayer meant and what Sikhism was from the BBC website. This person connected with me. Her name is Dashmesh. And she wrote, "Hello, Candace. I love to watch your show and learn a lot from it. You described my religion in a wrong way yesterday. You read 5 tenets of Sikhism, which included that God is without form and gender. This is totally false information, and you should have checked your facts before reading this line. I am born into this religion and know more than internet sources. We are not taught that our God is without gender. This upset me because in your live chat and the comment section, there were remarks made about my religion which were demeaning. My reason for reaching out to you on this platform was to make sure that you read this, and please let your listeners know that you did wrong by bringing gender in the tenets. I honestly think that Dillon should not have read the Ardas on that stage. Probably the only Sikh from the 1% count who watches your show would like to have you correct the wrong information given to people for her religion. Thank you and God bless." I said, of course, I will absolutely do that. I'm never trying to give bad information. I think that almost speaks to my point that nobody knows what this is. And that's why you and I are agreeing that it was inappropriate to do this at the RNC convention. But I did not at all mean, I literally just read the description that was on the BBC website. I don't know why I did that. I don't even trust the BBC for writing the correct information. But I wanted to read your comment as a make good, because that is not what I am about. Rather, I'm a person that tries to keep my talk pure, which is why I'm going to let you guys in on a little wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half every single month. You know what I'm going to say? You got to join Pure Talk, because Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe that you need unlimited data so they can overcharge you. And here's the fact that most of us are buying way more data than we actually need. Pure Talk is my cell phone company. They only charge you for the data that you actually want. So listen to this. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus a mobile hotspot. And do you know what you can do with 5 gigs of data? You can browse the internet for 135 hours. You can stream 1,000 songs, or you can watch 10 hours of video, and those videos can all be me in the show. So please stop overpaying for wireless and get 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Owens. Switching is very easy. There's no contract, no activation fee. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that is puretalk.com/Owens, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk. All right, jumping back into your comments before I jump into the live chat. Colton says, "I hate to say it, but when they announced that he had COVID," this is referring to Biden, "there was a part of me that thought they might be setting the table for his untimely disappearance if he doesn't volunteer to drop out." Yeah, we know a little bit about too much about our government and the things that they have done in the past to kind of accept all of this at face value. Again, the non-presidential seal is alarming. Gazelle writes, "If he's not fit to run for re-election, he's not fit to stay in the White House." You are absolutely correct, but he has not been fit to even walk into the White House, so they don't care about that. They have been successfully hiding him. Somebody commented on Gretchen Whitmer, bizarre, thank you, Joe Biden, for fixing the damn roads. Somebody said, "Gretchen Whitmer ran on fixing the damn roads twice. As a resident of Michigan, I can assure you, she has not fixed the damn roads." You hear that, Gretchen? You haven't done anything. Next is somebody commenting on me, just pointing out the fact that Jill is completely evil. She truly is just a despicable human being. This person writes, "Candace flat out calling Jill the most hideous first lady to have ever existed in American politics is absolutely correct. I am sure is what you mean by that." Now let's jump into the live chat. Hello, you guys. Thank you for saying you would vote for me for president. I'm working on my president. Is this not a presidential wave? Maybe this is a princess wave, and I'm doing this completely wrong. Okay, we have this person, Nothing New Under the Sun, who says, "Candace, you need to watch this documentary by Pastor Steven Anderson. It's uploaded on YouTube, by the way. I'd love to hear your reaction to the hashtag Schofield Bible." I know all about the Schofield Bible, and it was actually, in fact, a Bible that was funded, and I have to do a little bit more research into it, but I have heard of it. This person, Cooking with Kiko, writes, "Thank you, Candace, for all that you do. Keep spreading truth." Nicholas writes, "Hi, Candace, longtime fan and supporter from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I love the way that you've been advertising the book Chaos. I started listening to the audiobook on Spotify. It's insane to comprehend." It is a must read, you guys, because you need to just be on the same plane as me in understanding that these are not conspiracies we're talking about. Like I said, that book broke my brain. It is incomprehensible to think that the CIA would be behind orchestrating a murder in Hollywood because they wanted to shift the psychology, shift the psyche, the American psyche. So they think you do something big and people just start thinking differently. And that was the reality. They actually were successful after the Manson murders. People were fundamentally changed and fearful, and they stepped out of the hippie generation, the love, drugs, rock and roll. That's why there's that song, it was the song American Pie, and he says the day the music died. Yeah. That's what he's referring to, because he talks about Charles Manson in that song, Helter Skelter, that whole deal. And when you read this book and you realize that the CIA was involved on every single level, you will realize that doing these sorts of things to shift our psychology is something that they have been very successful at in the past. I think that's why people are rightfully asking questions about why it is that all of these news organizations who said they would never air Trump rallies anymore because he lies too much, suddenly were airing the Trump rally on the night that he got shot. Like, were we all supposed to watch Donald Trump die on our screens? Now, I haven't looked deeper into that, but I promise you that I will, because tomorrow we're going to have a crazy episode, because I spoke to Greg Smith, you guys. Remember Greg Smith, the first person that gave the interview to BBC? He was wearing the visor hat, and it had attached the orange hair. I think it was actually a part of the hat. And he was speaking about how odd it was, how he was just at the greenhouse, and they saw the shooter, and you could tell that he was just incredulous that the Secret Service didn't have eyes on him. And he said that he alerted the police. Yeah, well, I spoke to Greg Smith, and my jaw was on the floor speaking to him about all of the things that the media is not telling us, what happened to him that night, who he spoke with. I have got the tea, and I intend to share that with you. This person writes, with Trump meeting with Netanyahu, are we foreshadowing our potential future? No, I mean, Trump and Bibi Netanyahu have had a good relationship for a while. Trump did send out a letter, an email rather, of the campaign, and just said, we're speaking with him because we've always spoken to leaders, and we believe that more lives need to be saved, and this senseless war needs to come to an end, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but I don't take much from that. I don't think that Trump has said anything that would be alarming. And the other thing is that Biden's incapacitated, and he's already here. Somebody has got to meet with him if he's already made the flight. Christopher writes, I have been thinking about getting closer to God for some time, when the other day while walking my dog, I found a beautiful Bible on the ground. Thanks for helping me to have confidence in being Christian again. Bless you and the family. That makes me so happy. Absolutely love to hear that. That's my favorite comment, that people are feeling compelled. And I think it's partially understanding that this world has become increasingly so dark and so demonic. And the people that are atheists or allege that they're atheists should know that satanic people wanted you to become atheist because they know God is real. They wanted to trick you into believing that God was not. I'm going to read Nicholas Grimmy. By the way, guys, I forgot to tell you this. The new Candace cup has dropped. Go to clubcandace.com. On the front, it says conspiracy theorist, and on the back, it says don't care, right? Because that's how we are, right? Built different, don't care is the new Candace cup. So make sure you get yours before we sell out, and we will obviously take them off again once we actually hit 3 million subscribers, which would be a dream if we could do that by the end of this year. That is my actual dream. Okay, Nicholas Grimmy, last comment coming from you. Hi, Candace. Thoughts on celebrities endorsing Harris so quickly? Demi Lovato, Katy Perry, just moments after Biden's announcement over the weekend. Am I the only one who feels like this was timed too conveniently? I mean, that's Hollywood for you. Hollywood is one big show. It is just Babylon, and everybody's playing a part all the time. It just becomes a way for them to get attention. A lot of these people are constantly trying to pretend that they comprehend politics because it makes them feel like they're serious people, and they're not. None of them are serious people. I mean, I should have covered this on a different episode, but Katy Perry's recent music video is something worth discussing. Maybe tomorrow. We'll throw it in for tomorrow. I'm going to show you that music video, and you will realize that they do these things because they don't want to live with the fact that they actually have contributed nothing of value to our society. I hate Hollywood. I really do. I just think it's Babylon. Hollywood is actually Babylon. Again, head to clubcandace.com, and also, you guys, locals.com. Become a supporter if you're loving the show, if you're loving the freedom for me to say whatever. Built different, don't care, loving us talking, at least having the courage to speak about the conspiracy theories. Why don't you just become a supporter? And maybe you just give $1 a month, 50 cents a month, 25 cents a month, whatever you can. Head to locals.com and support the show. We will see you guys tomorrow.